Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. The Law and Justice government has adopted a resolution on the migrant crisis on the Italian island of Lampedusa, opposing the forced relocation of illegal migrants within the European Union. According to the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, the European Commission's plan for the migrant crisis is not a solution, but an incentive to smuggle people illegally into European Union countries. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki said the European Commission had not learned from its mistakes and is once again proposing solutions that will not solve the problem of illegal migration. We want to send a signal to the European Commission and all the political powers, including the civic platform in our country, that there is no consent to illegal migration. But we also want to send a clear message of warning, because Lampedusa is such a warning. All of Europe may look like this at Lampedusa if we wade into the same mistakes, the same schemes, the same mechanisms that the European Commission has proposed. In the resolution, the government calls on the European Commission to fundamentally change its migration policy and effectively seal the Union's borders. One of the government's main tasks is to ensure the security of its citizens. The disturbing developments in Italian Lampedusa are one of the manifestations of the growing migratory pressure on the European Union. In response to the European Commission's proposals in the so-called Migration Pact and the 10-point support plan, the Council of Ministers recognises that the illegal flow of migrants into the European Union is as a consequence of the EU's flawed migration and asylum policies. The Council of Ministers calls on the European Commission to take adequate and immediate actions to stop illegal influx of people into the European Union, abandon proposals that encourage illegal migrants to come to the European Union. The only way to fight this invasion is to actually seal the borders in real terms, also issuing decisions to return those who have made it across the border to their home countries, and possibly some other solution, but always related to getting rid of them from our own territory, in this case from the territory of the European Union. The European Commission's 10-point plan is actually an incentive for illegal migration. Support the transfer of people out of Lampedusa, including to other member states, using the voluntary solidarity mechanism and with particular attention to unaccompanied minors and women. In addition, the European Commission wants to move away from the compromise reached in June 2018 and reinstate the mechanism for the compulsory relocation of illegal immigrants to European Union countries. It violates the sovereignty of states to decide who enters the country, because the state is trying to impose itself in this way. It encourages both migrants and smuggling mafias to bring as many migrants here as possible, because, after all, if the European Union accepts that you can drive across the border, it's as hollow as a sieve, and we're going to just deal with the problem here. That's an incentive for criminals. According to the estimate by the International Organization for Migration, the number of migrants was 38 million in Europe in 2019. Lampedusa is an island located between African Tunisia and European Malta. It belongs to the Italian Republic, so illegal migrants have to travel a distance of only 140-odd kilometres to be in the European Union area. Poland is a frontline state due to the conflict in Ukraine. There are certainly also huge changes ahead of us in Belarus. It could be a beneficiary of such a migration pact and also receive aid from the European Union. And we will certainly work on such solutions in the European Parliament, because migration as such simply cannot be swept under the carpet. About 13,000 migrants arrived in Lampedusa in just a few days. The island's population is just over 6,000. A tourist spot on the map of Europe has become a centre of illegal migration. A state of emergency is enforced there. If we are not unequivocal and do not say that we are closing the borders to human traffickers and illegal migration, then the situation will absolutely escalate. Law and Justice has posted on social media a video warning of the dangerous consequences of migration location in Europe. Ursula von der Leyen, after her visit to the Italian island of Lampedusa, announced another disastrous plan for Europe. The safety of our continent's citizens, and therefore the safety of Polish families, women and children, means nothing to European bureaucrats. There are no terror neighbourhoods anywhere in Poland. There are none because the Law and Justice government, contrary to what Donald Tusk is now telling us, is successfully defending our borders against a wave of illegal migrants. Poles overwhelmingly oppose the relocation of illegal migrants to Poland. Donald Tusk for years supported a mechanism for the forced relocation of migrants and now avoids questions about the issue due to the continuing election campaign. If the Polish government is actually one or two or three in Europe determined not to participate in the solidarity sharing of responsibilities on the refugee issue, if the Polish government is actually one of two or three in Europe determined not to participate in the solidarity sharing of responsibilities on the refugee issue, it will inevitably involve certain consequences. These are the rules in Europe. More and more countries are changing their attitude towards the EU's open door policy for mass migration. France and Germany have decided to stop accepting migrants from Italy. The Slovenian opposition is calling for the deployment of the military on the border with Croatia, and the Czech Republic last year decided to reintroduce controls on the border with Slovakia. President Andrzej Duda is in the United States. Today, during the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly General Debate, he spoke about the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the future of the organization.
Today, once again, it befell on us to live in dangerous times. As a result of Russia's full-scale aggression on Ukraine, hundreds of thousands of people lost their lives or suffered injuries. Millions were forced to flee their own home country, and hundreds of millions worldwide are facing the specter of famine and serious economic disruptions. Russia's brutal aggression brought immense global problems in its aftermath. It put to a test international world order. Costs of those barbarian actions, humanitarian, material, and environmental, are incalculable and still growing. For long, world peace has never been as threatened as it is today. We, Poles, know fully well that peace is not to be taken for granted. September in the history of my home country is a special month. On 1st September 1939, Nazi Germany invaded my homeland, Poland. The Second World War broke out. On 17th September 1939, we received a blow from another direction. The Soviet Union also made an onslaught on Poland. In the wake of the alliance between Hitler and Stalin, today, in these dangerous times, we need a return to the thinking and actions of the founding fathers of the United Nations. There will be no lasting peace without cooperation, without solidarity between richer and poorer countries, and ultimately without respect for international law. Poland wants cooperation. Poland wants solidarity. Poland wants peace.
Azerbaijan has launched what it describes as anti-terrorist operations in the Nagorno-Karabakh region to disarm Armenians, the defense ministry in Baku announced. Armenian authorities are calling Azerbaijan's actions full-scale aggression. According to Pashinyan, Azeri armed forces were shelling the entire territory of Nagorno-Karabakh and tried to break through the contact line separating them and the forces of the self-proclaimed Nagorno-Karabakh Republic. He also said that Azerbaijan was attempting to take control of towns and villages in the region. That said, in fact, Azerbaijan has started a ground operation aimed at ethnic cleansing of the Nagorno-Karabakh Armenians. As the Armenian Foreign Ministry statement has it, first, the Russian peacekeeping force must take measures. Second, we expect that the United Nations Security Council will take measures too. Azerbaijan launched military action in the Nagorno-Karabakh region, a step that could presage a new war in the volatile area, but which Baku said was necessary to restore constitutional order and drive out Armenian military formations. Karabakh is internationally recognized as Azerbaijani territory, but part of it is run by breakaway ethnic Armenian authorities who say the area is their ancestral homeland. It has been at the center of two wars, the most recent in 2020, since the 1991 fall of the Soviet Union. Armenia, which had been holding peace talks with Azerbaijan, including on questions about Karabakh's future, condemned what it called Baku's full-scale aggression against the people of Nagorno-Karabakh and accused Azerbaijan of shelling towns and villages. The mayor of Dinar in northeastern Libya estimates that more than 20,000 people have died as a result of last week's flooding. The World Health Organization has so far confirmed 3,922 deaths. A total of 283 bodies have been recovered from the sea since the search began. I'm looking for my brother-in-law, his daughter and his wife. They lived there. There is no news about them. I came here and found nothing. The members of the search team told me that they can't find anything here. No bodies, nothing. I pray that it turns out that they survived. The search for flood victims in eastern Libya and the estimation of losses continues. It all started with Cyclone Daniel, which brought heavy rainfall. The rising waters in the rivers led to the breaching of 2 dams, and the wave broke into the 125,000-strong city of Derna with great force. The investigation found that the dams, built half a century ago, had not been maintained for 20 years. Water washed away entire buildings and washed cars and people into the sea. That is why so many people cannot be found and may never be found. More bodies continue to be washed up on the shore, while others float on the surface. The rescue operation is difficult because Libya, as a result of several years of civil war, is de facto divided into 2 and ruled by 2 competing power centres. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.